Imagine if you were a king, and someone that you have taken in to serve under you to be the leader of the army, and people begin to make song about how great he is, how mighty, even how greater than he is to you. How would you feel? Would you want to kill this man? Saul did, and many more times did he try to kill David. In fact, we're told that Saul was beginning to fear David himself because he knew God was with David instead of himself. Yet David kept showing nothing but love and respect to his king of the land. Saul's fear continued to grow more and more. In fact, he tried to kill him in 3 different times, twice in one moment. You can find this in 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 10 and 11. When he allowed David to become a leader of his army, that maybe he will get killed in that. But because David had God with him, he kept winning and winning, time after time, again and again. Fear and anger came into his heart and allowed an evil spirit to come into him and kill David, due to the fact that Saul went away from God, and God chose to take away his anointing. Family members tried their best to keep Saul from killing David because they loved David and even had become his son-in-law to Saul himself. Even after promising he would not try to kill him, he would try to kill him with a spear again, and even launch himself to him. From that point on, David was on the run, and even after being anointed to be the next king, God chose him to be king of his people. The person we call a man after God's own heart was forced to flee in order to stay alive. It doesn't matter if you're God's chosen people, you're anointed to be the next king, you're next in line to be a leader. It doesn't matter if you think you're a good person. In the end, we all face trial and tribulation because this world has fallen into sin, and that their own desire, their own rule, and hunger for evil take range of their own heart. We get so angry when something bad happened to us that we think God is doing this to us and that we deserve it for our past sin or something we have done. Well, yes, we do have to face the consequences of our choice we make. Even after repenting, it's only because of the sin of the world that we sometimes need to face that. But the story only gets more interesting as we read about David. At this point, he's been running from town to town, hiding in a cave, acting crazy just to stay alive. Yet, this man grew more and more people around him, protected him, and even attacked the Philistine from the Kailai. 1 Samuel chapter 23, verse 1 through 12. Even when the world came to attack us, we still have a God who surrounds us with people who show mercy, grace, love, and much more. Sometimes we need to stop pitying everything on God himself and blaming him for this and that and everything, and just trust him that he will always make a way through the storm. As time goes, Saul keeps chasing after David all over the land to kill him. We can see in 1 Samuel chapter 24, verse 3, that Saul took 3,000 men to look for David. During this time, he went into a cave to take a breath from looking for David, and unknowingly to Saul, David and his men was a little farther back in the cave, finding that Saul was right there. David's army saw this, and in their eye they saw this was the day the Lord was given to them, to end all this, to finally make David the rightful king that he was called to be. Now think, David didn't have all right to kill this man. I mean, Saul tried to kill him multiple times. Saul was going against the word of the Bible, trying to kill a man of God. He was also trying to kill him to be the next anointed king. And not only that, but breaking the 10th commandment, just because he was jealous and scared. And in fact, we know David went right behind Saul. But he chose just to cut a piece of Saul's robe and tells this man this. He said to his man, "The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord anointed, or lay my hand on him. For he is the anointing of the Lord." With these words, David sharply rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went his way. Later on, we see David once again spare Saul's life. And he talked to his men and said this in verse chapter 9, "Don't destroy him. Who can lay a hand on the Lord anointing and be guiltless? As surely as the Lord lives, He said, the Lord himself will strike him, and his time will come, and he will die. Or he will go into battle and perish. But the Lord forbid that I should lay a hand on the Lord anointed. Now get the spear and water jug that are near his hands, and let's go. We're so quick to bring justice to ourselves. We think it's all right to bring justice to people who have done wrong for us. We believe it's not right to get paid back, to do the Lord work, to bring judgment to the people. Yet, we are also so quickly to forget that we are sinful people ourselves, that we still have thought and temptation just like they do. Because of the price that Jesus paid for us, we can sometimes take that gift for granted. And that gift that makes us higher than anybody else around us who have yet to meet Jesus, or even new believers who are trying to move around their faith, learning about it, trying to get that foundation. David knew it wasn't his place to make a judgment on a man who was called higher from God. He knew God would take care of him and do what was right for his people. Judgment was not made for us to take, but to trust God with his justice and believe he will make the call to bring it to him. But for now, he will spare his life and move on till the time would come to come home. To us, we need to make that choice, to let go of that anger that we hold to people. That frustration of how one person is doing better in life than the other. How they're doing the evil thing and that we're suffering to do all good. We may be even suffering for our belief. But because it is not our problems, it belongs to God. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 4 through 6. Paul is talking to the church once again. Due to them getting attacked multiple times, he gave them these words. In verse 4, that's why ourselves are bragging about you in God's church. We tell you about the endurance and the faithfulness and all the harassment and trouble that you have put up with. This shows that God's judgment is right and that you will be considered worthy of God's kingdom for which you are suffering. After all, right for God to pay back the one who making trouble for you with trouble. Trust God in your day-to-day life. That's what God is just saying. Trust him your day and day with people. Worry about yourself and do what is right in God's eyes. And what we mean by that does not mean we don't forget about people. We don't stop helping people. But that we understand when people do evil, it is not our job. Our job is to show that love of God. Because we don't know if anyone has showed them that. And you might be the one person that might be able to show it to them. Now later on in the story, Saul does die, and David finally reached his goal, and his rightful place to be king of the nation and rule with God, written law on his heart. And while this is great, he's doing what the Lord had told him. He soon stopped going into battle and lose his eyesight with the Lord. Now letting temptation come in is slowly him. And this is where the enemy can come and eat at his table and ruin everything.